Welcome to another exciting video of the series. This video will be special in the sense that you will encounter a good Khalifa who does not follow the pattern set by the Islamic Prophet and his immediate followers. This is the 7th video of the series. To watch the earlier ones, please click on the top right corner of this video. I will also put a link to the playlist in the description box. Before we come to the Good Caliph, we have to go through some more of violence and its bloody trail. So let us get started. Do you remember the Khawarij group, which was defeated by Ali and Naharawan? They decided that the present regime is not Islamic. Therefore, all the important figures of the present rulership has to be eliminated. The three to be eliminated was Ali, the previous caliph, Muawiya, the designated caliph, and Amr bin As, the governor of Egypt. They designated the following people for the assassination: Abdul Rahman ibn Muljim to assassinate Ali, Bakr bin Abdullah to assassinate Muawiya, and Amr bin Bakr to assassinate Amr bin As. These three depart to assassinate their respective victims in the month of Ramzan. The following is what happened as a result of the plan. Amr bin As was sick those days, and hence he skipped the prayer. Therefore the assassin killed the imam of the prayer, assuming him as Amr bin As. The assassin of Muawiya too attacks him in the masjid, but he escaped with a minor injury, while the assassin of Ali was successful in killing Ali while he was bowing his head for prayer. This event happened in 661 AD, the same year when Ali was assassinated. You might be wondering why there is so much of violence and fight in which one Muslim is killing another. If you scratch through the surface, you will realize that they did not even consider Muhammad as a prophet in reality. They used Muhammad and his religion to advance their personal agenda. Let me prove my assertion with few hadiths. This hadith from Sahih Bukhari says that the purpose of fighting is to get Allah and Muhammad acknowledged by the confession of Islamic faith. If that is so, what is the purpose of two Muslims believing in the same Allah and Muhammad fighting each other? Take this hadith for instance. This hadith says that both the murderer and the murdered goes to hell as a result of fight between both the Muslims. Had they really believed these sayings of their prophet, they would not have gone for the fight. Clearly they knew Muhammad was a false prophet and his words bereft of any consequence. Now that Ali is no more in the picture, Muawiya had no issues ascending the throne and becoming the new Khalifa. But his tenure as the caliph was not smooth. Ali's son Hassan got the support from the people of Kufa, and they gave their allegiance to Hassan as the new caliph. In short, the tussle was between the clans of Banu Hashim and Banu Umayyah. Muawiya belonged to Banu Umayyah, while Ali and Hassan was part of Banu Hashim. Though they were both part of the Qurayshi tribe, the wedge between both the clans grew wider. Hassan was not a man of war. He was pressurized to take the battle to Muawiya. Therefore, he led the army from Kufa to Syria to fight Muawiya. Needless to say, he went and made a treaty with Muawiya for peace as he has seen a lot of bloodshed. However, his people did not take the decision to make peace with Muawiya lightly. They accused him of betrayal and even started calling him as kafir. One of the arrows shot at him by his own soldier pierced his thigh, which resulted in his fall from the horseback. As per the peace treaty, Hassan would give his allegiance to Muawiya in return of 1 million dirhams from the state treasury on an annual basis as long as Hassan is alive. 1 million dirham is quite a huge amount. Remember that Umar was killed by Abu Lu'lu'a because he would not reduce 2 dirham of his tax. So now compare the amount of 1 million dirhams. As a result of this peace treaty, all accepted Muawiya as the Khalifa except for the Khawarij group. Hussein, his brother, also accepted Muawiya as the new caliph, and the new capital of the caliphate is now in Damascus. Hassan goes back to Medina and lives a life of luxury and all vices. He broke the Islamic law for having a maximum of 4 wives and had acquired even more than 70 wives. Some traditions says that he had more than 300 wives. He also acquires a lot of sex slaves for himself. Unbeknownst to Hassan and Hussain, Muawiya was positioning himself to take revenge on the attacks on his father done by Muhammad and his gang. He has not forgotten the deeds of the Prophet and group in Badr, Uhud, and Khandaq. In reality, Muawiya never became a Muslim. He was biding his time and playing along. Now the perfect time has presented itself to take action. It was important to ensure the elimination of Hassan and Hussain for all time. Therefore, he conspired to finish Hassan using the services of his own wife, Jada bint al-Ashith. As per the plan, she put poison into some milk and gave it to her husband, which resulted in his death after 3 days. She had earlier too tried to poison him. However, it was not as effective as the last one. Hassan likewise died in 670 AD. After the killing of her husband, she went back to Muawiya to get her reward. Muawiya gave her the 100,000 dirhams which he had promised. However, he backtracked on getting his son married to the ex-wife of Hassan. While he was dying, Hassan had requested his brother Hussein to bury his body, along with the body of his grandfather, the Prophet of Islam. So while his body was being taken to the burial, the people of Banu Umayyah disallowed the burial in return to what they did to the body of Uthman. The tit-for-tat happened when people of Banu Umayyah called him as kafir and attacked them with bows and arrows. Even Aisha got involved into the controversy where she too denied the body of Hassan to be buried in the premises. Later Hassan's body was buried close to the place where the Prophet was buried. As Muawiya never forgot the attacks done to his father, Abu Sufyan, by the gang of Muhammad, he wanted that Aisha also be eliminated if she does not support the supposed caliphate of his son Yazid after his death. Therefore, when asked, Aisha refused to pay allegiance to Yazid his son in the event of the death of Muawiya. Instead, she started cursing Muawiya for the death of her brother Muhammad bin Abu Bakr by calling him as Pharaoh. As a result of Aisha's offensive behavior, the team of Muawiya conspired to eliminate Aisha by inviting her to a banquet, and planned to seat her in a place which will be actually a pit with poisonous weapons inside it pointing outwards. They softly covered it with a heavy carpet and placed a chair over it. This is to ensure that as soon as she sits on the chair, it will go down the pit, exposing her to be poked by all those weapons which was positioned to pierce her body. Just as they planned, Aisha fell into their trap by accepting the invite, and she was made to sit on that particular chair in the banquet, which caused her to fall into the pit. As soon as she fell into the pit, she was covered with soil by the soldiers who were ready to do the act, and that is how the favorite wife of the Prophet was eliminated. This happened in AD 678. Finally, Muawiya ensured that his son need not do a lot of fighting to keep his throne secure, as Aisha and Hassan was eliminated from the race. Such monstrous way of backstabbing and fighting to gain control over the empire is in the DNA of Islam. There is no escape from that fact. Now let us understand the story about the death of Hussein, the other son of Ali. His death is referenced from a book called Maqtal al-Hussein. That book was initially a small pamphlet written by Abu Miknaf in 774 AD, 1 full century after the event of Karbala. This pamphlet book was found for another 4 more centuries. But suddenly after that, all copies of this book disappears. Surprisingly, after another 3 centuries, the Karbala incident is embellished and written in much detail to fill a big book. Nowadays there are so many books being circulated with these made-up stories. Most of them are published from Pakistan and India. Muawiya dies in 680 AD, and Yazid his son ascends the throne. At the death of Muawiya, he ensured that his son does not have many enemies except 2. They are Hussein bin Ali and Abdullah bin Zubair. He had to control only these 2 rebels, and then the kingdom will not have much issues. The mother of Yazid was a Christian lady by name Maysun bint Badal. As she was a Christian, she ensured that Yazid was brought up in Christian principles rather than the Islamic violent ways. Islamic traditions have 2 viewpoints about Yazid. In one he is exalted as a great caliph, and in another he is mentioned as a bad person. And you know why they said he was a bad person? The reason is that he used to drink wine and also had pet dogs. It has got nothing to do with his character per se. According to Christian doctrines, drinking wine is not forbidden, but drinking it in excess is what is forbidden. We also need to remember that in the regions of Mediterranean, drinking wine is a cultural and social way. Dogs are considered as the best friend of human beings. Islam is so much against one of the most loved animals, to an extent that their prophet advocated the killing of dogs. Hence, when somebody likes dogs and keeps them as pets, they feel it is a very bad thing. Therefore, Caliph Yazid was considered as a bad person by some Islamic traditions. A person is known by his actions rather than his words. Now let me tell you some incidents in his life which proved that he was not just a good-natured person, but also imbibed the Christian values which was given to him by his Christian mother. Now let us understand some events which unfolded after Yazid became the caliph. Yazid sent a letter to the governor of Medina to get the allegiance of Hussein bin Ali and Abdullah bin Zubair. As soon as they got the whiff of the letter, both of them went away to Mecca with the excuse of Hajj and Umrah. After the Umrah, Hussein departed with his caravan to Kufa, as he knew that Kufa had lots of supporters for his father Ali. He also received a letter from the people of Kufa, which said that they would like to have Hussein as their caliph rather than Yazid. The advisors of Hussein had expressed their concern regarding his journey to Kufa, as they knew the people of Kufa are very volatile and take violent turns as they did with Hassan. Therefore, they agreed to send an ambassador before the arrival of Hussein who can arrange the people of Kufa to pledge allegiance to Hussein. The name of the ambassador was Muslim bin Aqil. He was successful in gathering 12,000 people and get their pledge of allegiance. As a result of the support of these 12,000, Muslim bin Aqil sent a letter to Hussein saying that he has got enough support who are ready to fight against the army of Yazid. The governor of Kufa at that time, Nu'man bin Bashir, was quite soft in dealing with Muslim bin Aqil. As soon as Yazid got the news of this, he removed Nu'man bin Bashir and replaced him with Ibn Ziyad. He was quite a strong character, unlike his predecessor. His first action after he became the governor was to execute Muslim bin Aqil. Hussein was unaware that his ambassador was being put to death, and he was making plans to continue his journey towards Kufa. There were many people who had expressed their apprehensions and tried to stop his journey to Kufa. It included Ibn Abbas too. He even discouraged Hussein taking his wives and kids to Kufa, as there is a possibility that he could be killed in front of his wives and children. The greed for the caliphate within Hussein was so much that he disregarded the advice of others and put his wives and children at risk along with himself. When he was about to reach Kufa, he received the news that Muslim bin Aqil was executed. However, he would not budge and proceeded in his perilous journey towards Kufa. When the governor of Kufa, Ibn Ziyad, received the news of the arrival of Hussein, he sent an army towards Hussein's contingent, and the place where they met each other is called Karbala. The size of the contingent of Hussein was 72, and the size of the army of Amr bin Sa'd bin Waqqas was of 4,000 soldiers. Hussein knew that he was trapped. When asked why has he come to Kufa, he said that the people of Kufa had invited him to rule over them. At this time he wanted to return back to Mecca. However, he was surrounded by the army of Amr ibn Sa'd. Amr ibn Sa'd, the commander of the army of Yazid, was the son of one of the Sahabas of the Prophet. Please bear in mind that the army of Yazid did not instantly kill Hussein. They provided him an opportunity to pledge allegiance to Yazid and be free. But Hussein chose to be obstinate and foolish in the face of assured death. As a step towards coercion, water to his contingent was stopped so that they do not delay the process. But the response from Hussein and his group was all the more surprising when they decided to have their swords do the decision. Some historians have made this fight look like a war between Banu Hashim and Banu Umayyah. The Banu Umayyah was considering this battle as a revenge for the killing of Uthman. As a result of this battle, Hussein was killed because he would not pledge his allegiance to Yazid. At the end, he was beheaded, and his head was sent to Ibn Ziyad as proof. His wives and children were made hostage and taken to Kufa. When the wives of Hussein started wailing, Amr ibn Sa'd said, "This is the revenge for the killing of Uthman." It is also important to remember that the son of Hussein by name Zainul Abidin was sick and could not come to the battle. He was spared and not killed. This shows a good example of the ethics followed by the army of Yazid, in which non-combatants are not harmed, unlike the way the Prophet of Islam and his followers did. These captives of Hussein's people, including his wives and children, were taken from Kufa to Damascus to be presented to the Caliph Yazid. The army general brought the captives to Yazid and mentioned about the way Hussein was killed for not pledging allegiance towards him. Yazid was quite sad and said, "Even if he had not pledged allegiance, and you would have brought him alive to me, I would have forgiven him. May God punish Ibn Ziyad for taking such cruel measure on Hussein." Such a behavior is very contrasting to the Islamic way as shown by the Prophet of Islam. The response of Yazid is very similar to the response of David when he heard about the death of Saul. In the court, the eldest daughter of Hussein, Fatima bint Hussein, mentioned that all their wealth and properties were taken away as a result of the war. To which Yazid responded that all their properties will be restored and even more than what was taken away. When Shekinah saw the behavior of Yazid, she exclaimed that she has not seen a person as good as Yazid. As was the practice in previous Islamic regimes, noblemen came to demand beautiful wives and daughters of the defeated person for themselves. Yazid put a stop to that. He said, he can continue to do how it was done earlier, but that is not what he wants. He therefore violated the Quran way and ensured that the teachings of his mother was followed when dealing with other human beings. He ensured that the captives are escorted back by able men of integrity to Medina with due honor and respect. In the whole list of caliphs we have seen, Yazid was the only good caliph that came, and it has to be credited to the raising and effort done by his Christian mother. We have come to the end of this episode. If you have liked our content, please do click on the like button, and if you have not yet subscribed, do subscribe and click on the bell icon to receive instant notification of all our uploads. Till we meet again, may the Lord bless you and keep you.